All right, look at that. Some butter today. Can't wait to go tear that stuff up. Love mornings like this. All right, I decided to make a video about the Nautique walk-through transom. Specifically to talk about the things I like about it in response to 2 videos ago, the video I made about water coming across the transom, because I didn't expect this, but I got a lot of kind of controversial responses to it. But I just want to make a response because that video wasn't meant to like put shade on Nautique. It was more or less just to report back on a feature that I noticed on my first G23, my 2019 G23, you know, that surprised us because I didn't know anything about it, and we were going along and all of a sudden a bunch of water came in the boat. And I just thought, oh, you know, that kind of sucks. And then when the 2025 came out, I had noticed that there's this vent here and that the walkthrough is a little taller and it's wider. So, you know, I just wanted to see how well that worked. I thought maybe they had solved it, but you know, I just found out that it wasn't completely solved, but it was helped. It is better. But I want to get to the point because I did actually have a conversation with someone at Nautique after that video, and I also saw a lot of the comments, and I there's a lot of them I agree with, and I'll explain that. There were a lot of them that were very obvious that whoever commented didn't actually watch the video, because they just immediately made a comment that didn't take anything into consideration that I talked about in the video. But that's okay. That's just how things go. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video to respond because I by no means like hate this boat by far. Like I love this boat. There's a lot of things I like about it. There's a lot of new features I like about it. Including the fact that they helped eliminate some of the water over the transom compared to my last 2 G23s. But I mean, this thing's pretty great. You know, it's one of the only boat brands or manufacturers out there that actually has what I would call a true walk-through transom. You know, my 24 MXZ. My 24 MXZ, my 2018 24 MXZ, had somewhat of a walk-through transom, but it was quite a bit smaller, and it was probably half the height. So I would say that one was more of like a mix, you know, and a copy, because Nautique's had this sort of, you know, something like this, a walk-through transom, since 2013, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when they came out with the first G23. And I think, you know, it's not that it's definitely, and especially when I talk to somebody at Nautique, it's definitely not that they're not listening to customers about the water that comes over the transom. It's more about the fact that this feature is something that a lot of customers love, the ability to kind of ergonomically walk through the transom as opposed to walk over the transom, which is what most boat brands have, is an over the transom walking zone. So like you might see SeaDeck, but it's up level with the sun pads. So most customers love this feature, just to be able to ergonomically walk through the transom. And I'll include myself in this. You know, some of the comments that I saw were that I would gladly, you know, people would gladly take the walk-through transom that includes the problem of water coming through the transom if you stop too quickly, as opposed to having to walk over a transom and not having the problem of water coming over the transom, at least not so easily. I agree with that. I would much rather have this nice ergonomic walk-through transom and deal with the water coming over the transom every once in a while when we just accidentally, you know, don't pay attention. You know, I mean, a good example is my wife is always taking care of our 6-year-old and not even 2-year-old. She's almost 2. You know, every once in a while you just a little distracted. And I think that's probably the norm. You know, not everybody's out there driving competitions and has a lot of focus. It's more, I would say the majority of people are, you know, everybody's having fun and they might just be a little distracted and maybe a little water comes in. The other thing is this, you know, most people use these boats for surfing these days. This is not a problem at all for surfing. I have not had any water come over the transom when we have a surf wave going. It's only at wakeboard speeds or higher. So in other words, when we're going like 20 miles per hour or faster, I wakeboard at 21 miles per hour. I think most people wakeboard somewhere between that speed and like 25 miles per hour. And it's when you stop too quickly, that's when water comes over the transom. And that's outside of the norm. I would say my guess is there's probably like 40-ish%, maybe 30-ish% of people that are using these boats to actually do some wakeboarding. So it's, you know, it's the minority of people that use these boats or owners of these boats that are gonna even encounter that. Because for surfing, it doesn't happen at all. So I really just wanted to, you know, talk about it and shed some light on the scenario, because, you know, it seemed like I got, you know, a lot of sort of negative comments on that video, and it was a lot more controversial than I thought. And yeah, for sure, my preference would be that problem doesn't even exist. But if it has to exist, you know, like there's no such thing as a wake boat with a walk-through transom that's not going to take some water over the back if you stop too quickly. If it has to exist, then I would much rather have a walk-through transom than a walk-over transom, and deal with the problem. The other thing is, you know, a lot of people comment, the people that commented that said, oh, it's the way, you know, it's the boat driver's fault, you know. Those are the people that it's very obvious that they didn't watch the video. So you know who you are probably if you're watching this video again. If you're watching this video and you watch that one, we obviously don't take water on every time we stop. I put lots of hours on boats. I've done it for many years. I'm generally putting more wakeboarding hours on my boat than surfing hours. Obviously we're not taking water over the transom every time. And I would say it does happen here and there occasionally, just because you get distracted, you know. It happens to me occasionally, it happens to my wife occasionally. It's never that big of a deal, because like probably the biggest thing that happens from it is like maybe there's some people sitting at the back and they get splashed with water pretty good, or you have some stuff that you don't want getting wet. But we just try to make sure we don't have anything in areas where it can get wet, even if that happens. But anyways, I just wanted to go through that a little bit, because that last video, because the video I did where I showed it coming over the transom, seemed like a lot of people had, you know, kind of a shocked or negative response to it. And I didn't expect that, you know. I thought it would just be more or less like, hey, I'm providing information, just reporting back on something that I noticed on my first G23, and just reporting back on how the new features are working compared to my first G23. So yeah, Nautiques are still great boats. I mean, I obviously love them. This is my third one. And just to shed a little light on my experience, if you haven't watched my channel before, because I've talked about this a lot in my different videos. You know, I think this is my 7th wake boat. I started with a 2007 Malibu 23 LSV, then I went to a 2014 Malibu 23 LSV, then I went to a 2017 Malibu 23 LSV, then I went to a 2018 Malibu 24 MXZ, then I went to my 2019 G23, then a 2022 G23, and now a 2025 G23. So anyways, you know, I've done a ton of wakeboarding in all of those boats. I think the smallest amount of hours I put on any of those boats was probably somewhere around 80 hours. And most of those hours, you know, I definitely do some surfing, but the amount of surfing and foiling that I do probably is the equivalent of like maybe at times up to 1/3 of the hours that I'm putting on boats. So, you know, out of 80 hours I think that was on my 2019 G23, out of 80 hours I put on that boat that year, it probably equated to like something about around 20 to 30 hours that I put on that boat that was surfing. All the rest were wakeboarding hours. So, you know, that's where the experience came from, and that's where it shocked me when I got my first G23, and I didn't expect it, and literally, you know, it came out of nowhere and surprised us because nobody had told us about it. I think in general, you know, you would be able to get out if you buy a G23 if you'd be able to get out with the dealer or whoever's selling it with you, or whoever's selling it to you, so they could kind of teach you about it. That just wasn't the case. I kind of bought my 2019 G23 sight unseen. So first time I took it out, it just surprised us because it's something we never dealt with on the previous 4 Malibus. But again, would I choose a walk-through transom and to deal with the water coming over the transom every once in a while, or would I choose to have a walk-over transom and not deal with it? I definitely choose to walk through. Another thing is, some of the comments I saw were in regard to like newer Malibus and just newer boats in general, and the fact that, you know, I didn't experience it with the Malibus I was on, but that people are experiencing water over the transom on the new like M240, M242s, M220s, things like that, the ones that have the deeper holes. So apparently, if you got the deeper style hole and you got to walk through transom, you're just gonna have to deal with it. So anyways, yeah, I just got done with a pretty glassy set out here this morning, and then we're just hanging out, playing around, as you can see. And they were running around on the tube. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do a little bit of surfing before I'm done today, and that'll be it. I just wanted to do like a response video, so that's my response video. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts on this video or ideas for future videos, please leave those in the comments down below. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click on that notifications bell so you'll be notified of my future videos. I'll see you next week.